Today in our whiteboard leadership moment, we're talking again about ministries and the ministries of your church. And in a previous session, we talked about this idea of the 5 types of people that come to a church. There's those people who are lost, converts, disciples, workers, and leaders. And we talked about the 4 tactics that we have to win people to Christ. They move from lost to convert. To move from convert to disciple, we build them in their faith. To move from disciple to worker, we equip them to serve. And to move from worker to leader, we multiply leadership ability. And today I want to just look at this and say this is a great platform to understand the ministries that you have. Some of us are having a difficult time developing converts or disciples or workers or leaders. And the reason is probably the programming that we have or don't have. And so what I want to do is just erase this and use these same terms to describe a ministry evaluation. And so I'm going to put the word win, and then build, equip, and multiply. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take some time and just list the programs you may have in your church. And what I want you to do is to categorize each program for its primary purpose. I don't want you to put checks under a program for several purposes. I want you to put only one check in one column. It's either a win or a build or an equip or a multiply. For example, some of you have Sunday school. And Sunday school originally back in the 1800s was an evangelistic event, but over the years in most churches, Sunday school is a build event. How about the weekend service? The weekend service. Weekend services can be used for a number of things, but typically what people do is they use that for building people. Some churches have a group system or a Wednesday night service, and typically groups are also to build people in their faith. Now, some would say, well, we've also got training. And so training fits in this category, equip, but who's the training for? It's typically to train Sunday school teachers or group leaders. And so again, you're just feeding the build. This is called the 80% problem. 80% of churches in America simply do nothing in the win category, and they can't understand why they don't have lost people coming to the church and converts resulting for that, people coming to Christ. And what we need to do is create some programming for that purpose. We're also not multiplying leaders. This would be a great exercise for all of us to take and say, why are we getting the results that we're getting? The reason you are is probably because of the programs that you're developing. There's some things you can do to make sure that the win column has some wins in it. One of those things is in the services, just know that maybe once a month you're going to have what we call a friend day or perhaps a yes weekend, something that you're really focusing on those guests who are coming and you're preparing your people to invite guests that weekend. Some of the most prominent times of the year you want to do that is the start of school, Christmas Eve, Easter. But you kind of get the idea that certain times where you're actually planning the service for expecting people who don't know Jesus to be there with you. By the way, most of us have those people already. But we need to think through how we do the programming for those. Other things in the win column, you may want to consider doing some sort of seminar on marriage or maybe some sort of community impact weekend, something where you're reaching out to them rather than having them come to you. Instead of saying, come and see, you go and tell. This exercise is great to help churches think through how they want to program in order to get the balance of people who don't know Jesus, people who are new to their faith in Christ, people who are growing in their faith to Christ, people who are working in ministry, and people who are serving in the world as leaders. It's a great way to figure that out. This has been a Converge Whiteboard Leadership Moment. To learn more about Converge or to join us, check out converge.org.